So how the hell can you lose a few mil? What happened that a millions of pounds worth of business went from millions to zero overnight and it went bust?
Lack of systems. And I know everybody, some of your viewers might be saying, oh yeah, of course. But it was lack of systems.
Did the business revolve around him then?
Very much so, yeah. So even though my dad had gone into semi-retirement, to spend more time with mum, he still signed the checks, he still got the business in, people came to visit him, he disciplined certain, senior management team or whatever it was. He was integral to the business. Don't forget that business had been going for 30 years. He started with my granddad. Then all of a sudden, 3 months after he passed away, the receivers were called in. It's ridiculous. It even had something called ISO 9000, so some of the guys watching this might know that that's a quality standard. Oh. Effectively, it's systems. However, it had the wrong systems in. The systems were written in such a way that he was integral to the business.
Take him out and it all went belly up.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it did go belly up, and I remember having some really hard conversations with the bank manager. There's a good family friend, Jimmy Rishworth, a good friend of my dad's, who'd sold his business a couple of years before, and my mum and the then managing director of the company, and my brother. And they were saying, can the lads take it on, like me and my brother? But I was 24, 25, my brother's a year younger. My mum wouldn't allow that. She says, no, as executive of the will, she said, the lads are too young, they don't know enough about business. And then the bank had said, we can't support it anymore. So we called in the receivers. I was first to go, surplus to requirements. My brother was second, and my mum was third. So the first three people made redundant in that business were us three. I don't blame the receivers; they were just doing a job, but it was tough.
That must have hurt. Your father's built and your grandfather's legacy, and all the people to go was you, the guys.
The first three, but if you know a bit about that type of business, they've just, even though health and safety is actually a legal requirement, and the quality auditing was a requirement to keep that ISO 9000. I generally thought I was safe, if I'm honest, but I came in literally the day after, and they went, "Oh, we're gonna make you redundant." It was tough. It was a real tough time. I was doing a lot of the martial arts. I was doing working as a nightclub bouncer. I was doing debt collection, the legal kind. I could have gone down the wrong path. I literally, and this is not trying to be, oh, here he is, gangster. I'm the most furthest person away from that type of crap.
He's so cuddly.
But I could have gone down. It's all about choices, and I could have gone down that way in a bit of a naughty path, but I chose not to. And I chose, thankfully, to make something of myself in my life.
So what did you do then to earn a living?
That's when I turned pro, is the case fact. So I was playing rugby at a decent standard. I was getting a few...
League or union?
The proper one.
Okay,
not the other one. The proper one. So I was playing rugby union for a decent standard, county level. A few people come and play for us. But then I got into the martial arts. Had a couple of amateur fights, a couple of semi-pro fights, then turned pro. That's when I started going back to the States. Started my own class. I was doing, teaching people, wrestling, martial arts, Thai boxing.
Earning a bit of money?
A little bit, just to cover the bills.
Okay.
It wasn't great. You're still working the doors in the night time.
So how did you get into property?
Well, my dad when he was alive, we were talking about it. He always wanted to sell the business, and he knew that property was a great investment. He'd been in the game.
Well, they don't make land anymore, do they?
No, they don't. And he had a couple of property investments over the years himself, not major. So the idea was sell the business, buy 20, 30 houses. This is how naive we were. We're going to buy them cash. We were going to leverage. This is how far back we were. And we wrote a 2-page little business.
Yeah, but you don't know what you don't know.
Oh, exactly. Which is a really good phrase. It's one I use a lot. That we didn't know how property investment worked. So the couple of years later, after he passed, and I was going through my old stuff, and I found this business plan. I was looking at it, and at the time, say it was like 4, 5, 6 year old. So I started.
How old are you at this point?
28, 29.
Okay, and how long had your dad passed away?
About 5 years.
Okay.
About 5 years. Yeah, so I was 24 when he died, and I was 29, so about 5 years. And I had a look at it. I thought, oh great, I'll have a look at this again. So I started to really look into it. Remortgaged my house, just took a punt. Bought 3 little houses up in the northeast. Waited 6 months, remortgaged them. Waited a few more months, remortgaged them, and I got about 20 houses. I went part-time at my health and safety job,
Okay.
I was working at a foundry as health and safety manager. So went down to part-time. I was still doing martial arts, still going to the States and what have you. Yeah, exactly. And the idea was I was going to hire somebody to look after my properties and maybe another 20, 30 more for other people. That means the income generated from my properties could allow me to fly backwards and forwards to America and get my face kicked in.
With the light scandal.
Yeah, it didn't work like that because it was the time LHA came out for housing benefit,
Yeah.
and it just went nuts. The council were throwing a lot of people our way because I sat down and I read the legislation, I understood how it worked, so we were getting paid direct rather than the money going to tenants. And I think in the first 18 months, 20 months, we took on about 160, 170 properties, and it just went crazy. The sad thing was we weren't systemised. I didn't know what I didn't know, so we were making mistakes. We were losing clients because we didn't know how.
So were you a proper letting agency at this point, or were you just a back room managing your own? And
we turned into a letting agency by then. We had like 2 or 3 staff, and we'd hired an office in a business centre.
Was it called Castledene at this point?
It was, yeah, Castledene.
Why is it called Castledene?
Because when I started buying my properties, I wanted something that was just synonymous with Peterlee, which is where my properties were. And at the time, the shopping centre had just been renamed Castledene. It's nothing fancy. It's literally as crap and boring as that. So I just wanted to be called Castledene Property Management. I only wanted a couple hundred houses,
okay,
nice little income, nice little business, nothing fancy.
Okay. And what did you hope to achieve from that business?
A bit of lifestyle again as well. Have something that could give me and my. I think my daughter was born. She was only a couple of years old. Just a nice little lifestyle. Maybe so I could go down to half days, spend a bit of time at home. But because of we were decent at our jobs, we were good at marketing, we got a lot of business on. It just grew and grew and grew. But equally, as we were growing at the front end, we were losing customers and clients at the back end.